No opening statement, so go ahead.
So just a lot of new faces on this team today. What do you feel about those guys?
Well, you're right. We've had a lot of new faces, and so sometimes in the fall it's a little mixed emotion. Sometimes it's good because there's a lot of teaching going on, and as a coach, that's why you kind of get into this, right? But then the negative is there's a lot of teaching, and it seems like every time you turn around, nobody's in the infield's ever done this before. Nobody on the bases have done this before. So there's that part that I think sometimes can be a little frustrating. But we've had a good fall to this point, and I'm proud. The new guys have been terrific. Two guys you just talked to, Ross and Fisher, not only have played really well, but played like older guys. Played like guys that have been here, and certainly guys that have played at this level before, and play with confidence, but also have brought some leadership here, which is again one of the things that you always worry a little bit when you bring in so many new guys and so many guys out of the portal that are not from your program, obviously. So just happy today. I thought we played really well in all three phases. I thought we swung it well, but we pitched it really well. I was telling Kyle, I'm not sure, but since 2018 we started the fall scrimmages, I'm not sure if we've ever had a scrimmage where we haven't given up a run. And so to go 14 innings today and not give up a run. Now, again, there was innings that we had some traffic out there, but guys made pitches and got off the field, and obviously played really well defensively.
Coach, Grayson and JT, two returning players, just kind of what role are you expecting in the jumps you're expecting from them this year?
Well, I think you saw it today, a lot more confidence, especially, you watch JT the way, he pitched with a lot of emotion out there. Grayson, the stuff is, has always been really, really good. And unfortunately for those guys, last year wasn't, I think typical of what, as a freshman you come into the SEC, what's expected of you, to be pushed into the, the Saturday role or the Sunday role. Usually those are roles that are, passed out to older guys. And if you are a younger guy, like Hunter Elliott the year before, and other guys like Doug Nikhazy or, Gunner, usually those guys have had a chance to kind of get their feet wet and have played really well and have elevated themselves to those roles. And unfortunately, because of injuries and because of the way we were and just a lack of depth on the mound, they were, thrusted into some things that, probably, weren't fair at times. But they've handled it, and, getting beat up a little bit as a freshman, although it's not fun, I think will pay, huge dividends for them. And, I think you saw a little bit of that today.
Just through a month of fall ball, are you guys right on schedule where you want to be up to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's actually a schedule. I mean, it seems like a good question, but it's one of those, well, what is the schedule? As far as team-wise, we always worry about, getting, everything in, our offensive system, pitching system, getting all the team stuff in, and certainly just with weather, you're going to get that stuff in. But then trying to define some roles, trying to figure some things out. This is like about the halfway point, right? Or maybe a half a week, past the halfway point for us. And I try to always pump the brakes a little bit. I think, it's normal if you're a fan in the stands, or if you're a coach, to sit there when somebody has a good day and go, oh, wow. But then to ride the roller coaster the next day when they don't get a hit or they give up a few runs. And so I think as coaches we have to be careful of that, to make quick judgments and be so, to ride the roller coaster. It's great for the fans, that's it's what they do. But for us, is to sit back and just to make sure that we're getting the system in, and to be able to evaluate the fall as a whole, not just one at bat or one inter squad game or one fall game.
You talked about JT pitching with emotion, but it seemed like both teams were chirping back and forth. You think that was due to last year's loss?
No, we weren't chirping back and forth at each other. So, please don't misunderstand that. I mean, I think you probably saw that when there was a collision at first base, and Chisholm handed the guys sunglasses and whatever else his pitch comp thing that fell off his wrist. I mean, that wasn't, first of all, they don't return a ton of guys from last year, nor do us, nor do we. So, I don't think any of that had. I think, both teams, new coach, Steve Beazer, who'll do a great job there, longtime coach at Missouri. I think they wanted to come here and play with some emotion, and I think we all worry about that with a new club. And when your first time you put the uniform on, you get out there in front of about 750 fans. Are you going to play really quiet? You're going to play kind of subdued, especially with a bunch of new faces. So you challenge them to play with energy, and you challenge them. And so you may have heard chirping, but as I challenge our guys, that's for our guys. It's not making fun of them or trying to be disrespectful, and to make sure that it's more cheering for our guys and less trying to get on the other team. And I don't think either team did that today.
Coach, just talk to me about the maturity of Campbell Smithwick this far.
Yeah, he's certainly probably the highest touted player in that class, and well deserved. A kid that's played on the USA national team, and he's had a great high school career, travel baseball and international baseball, and he's super talented, and a kid that we knew for years that when he came here, he was going to have a chance to play immediately and impact. And in his first inter squad game, I think he hit a home run, and first fall game he hits a home run, and he's caught well, but he's also a kid that wants to get better. He realizes that it's not the easiest program to be a catcher, especially a freshman catcher, because all the coaches have been catchers, and we're very critical of that position. So he's handled it well, and excited about not only how well he's played, but also his development.
Mason Morris, he seems to have done a little bit of everything based from what we've seen him fall. What's kind of the advantage of having a guy that can, I guess it's a little bit obvious, what's kind of the advantage of having a guy that can do it all? And do you think maybe if he centered in on something, I don't know, a position more specific, that it would benefit him more greatly?
It's a great question, but there's guys like him, Mendez and others, through their career, Doug Nikhazy, Gunnar Hoagland, and then there's guys that have really excelled at being a two-way player like Stephen Head and others. So it's a tough thing, I think, to gauge it, but those guys have certainly deserved it. They've showed that they deserve it coming out of high school. They've shown that they can deserve it here. To your question, is it easier to do one? Certainly. 100%. But if you're able to do two, it's a big advantage, because it's one roster spot that fills up two spots of the roster, and so you're almost 2 for 1. There's times where we get to that point where we say, hey, listen, I think you need to concentrate, like Kemp Alderman, where we weren't sure if Kemp was going to be a better pitcher when he got to college, than hitter. And so, there's times where, as coaches, we have to make that decision. And sometimes there's guys like Doug Nikhazy that they were too good on the mound, that it wasn't worth. Doug was a good enough hitter to always hit here. He just wasn't a good enough hitter to start, and because he was such a good pitcher, it wasn't worth the risk that he's going to be the 12th or 13th hitter. So that means on Tuesday night, when we're winning 6-1 in the 9th, he gets a pinch hit at bat, but he's going to start on Friday. And risk reward, it wasn't worth it. Is he going to get hit by a pitch? Is he going to twist his ankle? Is he going to pull his hamstring and risk not pitching? So sometimes we have to look at that as well. Risk reward, is it worth it, or is it worth it for the hitter like Kemp? To continue to bullpen, continue to do those things. He's going to miss, you got to miss time in practice to work on the other skill. And so sometimes it's a little bit of a juggle. We hope that they can do both, but you never know until you try.
Mark, we didn't see him today. We expect to see him anytime in the fall.
You won't see him the rest of the fall. He had surgery on the shoulder that he re-dislocated or subluxed. The surgery was a success. He kind of aggravated it in batting practice, and the doctor and everyone, the trainers, felt that it was best. It wasn't that he rushed back. It was just, hey, let's not re-injure it. Let's get back to rehab. He would have had to take a couple weeks off, even to try to get back out there. He's going to be fine. I don't think we doubt that he's going to be okay. He looked great, for the little bit that he got back out. But then when he kind of re-injured it a little bit swinging, we decided to pump the brakes a little bit.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.